burn unit nurses, they are, in my opinion, the special ops of nursing. They are the smartest and best at what they do. This, of course, is my opinion. This is how I believe. This is what I think. You have to be incredibly intelligent to be a burn unit nurse. There are so many things that you have to look for. Because many times if you survive the initial burn, it's not going to be the burn that kills you. It's going to be either infection, fluid overload, maybe even possibly an overdose as you're trying to control that pain. And you have to monitor all of these things. And burn unit nurses have a very small number of patients, but their acuity is very large. For instance, if you have a person that has burns over 50% of their body, that means that the skin, which is an organ, which its main ability, that organ's main purpose is to defend you against infection and protect you from heat loss, is now compromised. And so that burn unit nurse has to know what to look for if and when infection happens. You got to catch it early. Or if fluid overload happens, because your cells will actually expand and then constrict, and then may do that a couple different times. I personally don't know, I would probably be way out of the loop on that, because I don't really know what to look for. I know that you're going to swell or you're going to shrink, but I'm sure that a burn unit nurse can tell me much quicker than myself what that looks for. Time management for these nurses has to be on point. You have to know exactly what time everything happens if you're a burn unit nurse. These guys are phenomenal at what they do. They have to be, simply because you're dealing with a very, very high acuity of a patient. They may not be the best nurses. I say there's, in my opinion, they're the special ops of nurses. They're the special operations. They're the top of the line, in my opinion. And you could argue that ICU nurses or cardiac nurses are the top for you, but in my opinion, it's the burn unit nurses. You have to be just on top of your game. Not only that, you have to deal with things that many other nurses, many other people aren't going to see. You have to see that charred up person, and mentally you've got to be ready for that. And burn unit nurses see people from all ages, from all walks of life, all sexes. So, if you get a burn person who's young, you get a younger burn person, that's going to affect me. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, as a father, it's going to get me. I don't think I could see a burned up baby person. It'd tear me up. But these burn unit nurses have to be mentally prepared for that. They have to be mentally ready to, see these charred up people. It's something that I thought I could do, like when I first became a nurse. I understand now that there's no way I could, and I never tried to become a burn unit nurse. I never did, because I realized pretty quickly, I may have to see a charred up baby person, and I'm gonna be, if I see a charred up baby person, that's gonna get me. So I can't do it. But somebody's got to do it, and the burn unit nurses do that, and so I believe that they are the best. Now let me go ahead and tell you this while I'm talking about burn unit nurses. I have worked with people who have left the burn unit. I've worked with someone who retired. They worked the burn unit for I don't remember how many years, and then they retired from the burn unit and worked the floor, and they were not very good on the floor, because everything that they learned from the burn unit they couldn't take with them to the floor, because the acuity is so high and your patient load is pretty low. So you go from having 1 to 2 patients that you literally have to watch all day to having 6, 10, 20 patients that you may only see to pass meds to. They couldn't quite grasp the concept of that. You know, I would assume if I spent so many years in the burn unit, I probably wouldn't be able to either, or vice versa. You know, if I spent so many years on the floor, you know, at, let's say med-surg, if I spent say 20 years on med-surg and then all of a sudden I went to the burn unit, it would be a learning curve. I would be probably pretty bad at it. I don't think I'm smart enough to go to the burn unit, to be honest, but I would probably be bad at it without the intellectual, you know, well-being. But there are many specialties in nursing. If you feel like the burn unit is for you, look into it. It is not for me. I couldn't do it. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I can't do it. I couldn't do it. But if it's for you, look into it. There are great opportunities. You know, we have here in North Carolina, we have several burn units. We have very good burn units. We have some of the, in my opinion, the best burn units. Just judging from you know, what I've seen and what I've heard around working in healthcare. But if it's for you, check it out. Be sure that you actually do some research if you want to go into a specialty field before you just hop into it. You know, that's my advice. I would rather you didn't just hop into a specialty field just because you feel like you can do it. But that's me, not you. I hope it helps. Thank you.